Hello, welcome. We've got another Wednesday night thing with the lads. I can hear someone sort of what they call it, feedback. Are you feeding back, Pete?
No, mate.
You are. We did a
I,
set. We did a sound check before, and it was all right. And then you turned up, and it's all gone haywire.
it's just me talking crap. That's all it is.
How about you, Gaz? You all right?
Yeah, I'm sound, mate. Yeah, don't think there's anything this end as far as
You've
I
got
can tell.
you've got like your Peaky Blinder gear on, son.
We got no central heating, so I'm trying to keep warm. I've only got the log burner. The heating's gone. We're waiting for a plumber to come tomorrow to fit our radiators. So
You know, I
yeah,
tell you what, how posh does it sound? We've only got the log burner. We've got a plumber coming to fix the radiators. You know,
well,
I haven't got a plumber, a radiator, or a log burner. I've got. I don't know if you can see this. Look, see,
nice. Yeah,
that is a Dumont Calagas, not Calagas. Yeah, I think it is.
yeah,
Heater that you put a bottle of gas in, and that's what
yeah.
most houses around here have for the winter. One of those.
Nice, nice.
It's all right. The only issue with them is if you forget to turn them off at night or you don't open the windows, you're dead in the morning. Apart from that, they're pretty good.
Yeah, that's
You
the
die
pay, I think.
warm.
Yeah, die warm in Spain.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
You
Beautiful.
see my new central heating, Steve. Look, got one of them, mate.
Oh, that's nice.
Lovely.
That is, Pete. Isn't it? I like
I
them.
tell you what, fair play to it. I couldn't resist it on Saturday. I had to do something to cheer myself up.
It's a bit
So
expensive, isn't they?
40 something quid.
Yeah, it's enough, isn't it? It is nice though, and that's like the middle coat of arms. That it's not the oldest one, is it? It's the
No,
1940s one, I think.
that's right. Yeah, but
That's the
I
one
mean,
with the. Is the bird got like a red mobile phone in her hand? That's the
yes, she has.
Yeah, that's the 1940s one. That is. That's when mobiles first come out. Have you seen the? Did you see the new coats that I got in tonight? The long
No,
quilted coats. Did you see?
no.
Oh, smart. Nike. They got like the world and football black. I guess they're doing in navy blue as well. Like you know, like the quilted, like sort of
Yeah.
you know what they call like a puffer jacket kind of thing. You know, the players wearing the long, like
Like the old, like the Arsene Wenger coats they
yeah, like
used
a
to wear.
trench coat sort of thing,
Yeah, I know what
been
you mean.
blown up a bit.
Yeah,
154 quid. But to be
yeah.
fair, it looks real quality, you know. It is Nike, and I don't think that's madly overpriced, unlike what Pete's wearing.
Oh, beg
Yeah.
your pardon.
But he's got loads of dough, Pete.
Well, what I
Remember that
did
logo? Remember that
shop.
logo on? Sorry, remember that logo on the side of all the buses?
Which is, what they're thinking
Yeah.
of doing is Tom Warner's done a deal with Birmingham City Council, and we're having that badge, and all the buses are having the Blues badge on the side, even the
Nice,
ones that go through Aston.
great, and paint them blue and white as well.
Yeah. So, Pete,
Anyway,
you were
boys.
just saying that you bought some stuff to show us. Me and Gary have just been saying we can't wait to see it. So, what you got?
Right. Well, the first item I've got here is something that my mum made, right?
Oh my
When
God.
I was 27, made it for me. Look at that.
How old were you?
27. No. I was, when we did have that kit, I was 10. I know it's a bit old for a 10-year-old, like, but
Can
I,
you ventriloquize him? Can you put your hand anywhere to make his mouth move?
it's a cross between like a German porn star and Alan Campbell, isn't it?
Mate, I hate to like be. I hope there's no children there, Pete. But it looks
Yeah.
like he's got a pair of balls hanging underneath his moustache. Oh, he's got his Adidas on.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Tell you
Anyway,
what, your mum done a good job there, son. Seriously.
oh,
Was
she
that
did
Merry
better.
Christmas?
I mean, she
Here's
must
your
have
big
been
present.
smart as well.
He was disappointed. He was disappointed though, Gaz, on Christmas morning because they couldn't afford an action man. So they made that, but it was sort of similar.
Very, yeah. So here's your big present. I hope you're happy, son.
Yeah. And she knitted me a scarf. You know them bar scarves.
Yeah. I had Nan knitted me one of them.
Oh, bless. And I had my little Bow Brummie badge and a sticker it on and whatever. But I threw it away after we lost to Portsmouth in 1976. Believe it or not, you know, why do we always have to mention Fulham? Right. So after we'd lost to Fulham 75, right, the next round, the next season, which was 76, weren't it? We got drawn away at Portsmouth, and with that as well, that Villa had got drawn away at Southampton.
Yeah.
So the traffic down there, I went on the Everton's Gold Liner coach down there because it used to run from Westheath, pick up Westheath and Northfield and whatever. But the traffic down there was, we never got there till 5-3. Just about got in. Blues scored in the first couple of minutes, I think it was. But it was a proper cup tie atmosphere that was, and we managed. Portsmouth equalised and got it. We deserved to lose. Actually, one of them got them back for the replay, and we lost at home in the replay. Yeah. And I was that distraught. You know, I mean, you just about had enough. That on top of the Fulham thing, it was too much. And all my mum's bloody lovely knitting and hours that she put in that scarf. I just picked it up and flipped and threw it away, threw my toys out the pram.
That's a shame, isn't it?
I was at that game.
Did you get that game? Did you?
Yeah. I don't know what coach company we went with. I can't remember that, but we went on the coach. And I don't think it was an official thing, but the A34 down to the, obviously, like Hampshire, there were scraps on every service station I remember, because like there were Villa heading to Southampton and Blues going to Portsmouth. It was kicking off all over the place.
Meanwhile, in Southampton and Portsmouth, it was going off with the Southampton and Portsmouth.
Yeah, I remember before the game at Fratton Park, Portsmouth are in dire straits, and they run round with a big bed sheet. Up in each corner, collecting money and asking the crowd to throw money in this big bed sheet. Got round to the Blues fans and they were just pelting the people with coins. Like they weren't aiming for the blanket, they was aiming for the people carrying the madness, absolute madness. Come out the grounds and they divided the fans. We was heading back to the coaches and there was just bricks, bottles and everything just coming over the top of these Terry's houses. Carnage that was. It was it was a bad day out, that was.
The last time I went to Fratton Park was when we played them in the Cup about 10 years ago.
Oh, that sixth round one.
Yeah, did we play them the week before or something as well?
It was an early kick-off, weren't it, that Cup one a few years ago?
Yeah, I was living in Bournemouth at the time and I met a load of the lads down fairly near the ground. It's a dump, innit?
Yeah.
It is, but it's a proper football ground, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's sort of a bit like St Andrews used to be, sort of. Yeah. And it reminded me a bit of Luton. When you go in the away end, you got the houses right behind you, ain't you?
Yeah.
You can look in while they're having the dinner if you want. The game's crap. You can watch them have the dinner and that. It's all right.
Yeah. Okay, right. Next on the agenda, we have my pride and joy.
Hang on, right? Before you show me that, what's the name of that doll that you got? I don't want to call it a doll because I don't want to make you feel like I'm accusing you of anything. What's the name of that boy next to you?
His name's Fritz.
Oh, well.
Fritz the porn star.
Oh, dear.
Go on then, show us what you got.
Every man needs a doll, mate, to tell you sometimes. Right. Ta-da! Next thing on. Right. I actually met the bloke what it was is when he got the sack at Blues sort of thing, he'd never set foot back in St Andrews. He just wouldn't go back sort of thing. But we had this thing called the Birmingham Historical Society.
Yeah, I remember it.
There's a bloke called Ivan Bardsley and
well.
Teddy Boy Tim used to. I'll get on to Teddy Boy Tim in a minute. I got some brilliant stories about him. But yeah, and I'd gone along there because it was like a reunion of they got the 1963 Cup final team there. Well, those that could make it and whatever. The people there, it was just so great to see because obviously that 63 team were their heroes. I never seen any of them play. Obviously, they was a bit too, about 5 years before my time.
Didn't Malcolm Beard play or something, or Ron Wiley, a very young Malcolm Beard, I think, something like that. There might have been one or two survivors from that team into the one that we seen.
But they had this, some of them look fit as a butcher's dog. I mean, they was all getting on a bit, with the players there. But I mean, just the whole room was in awe of Gil Merck. Absolutely wonderful, to actually met the, I mean, he's got to be up there with Trevor, hasn't he, as the all-time iconic blues player.
He's got. Just show us that photo again, Pete.
Right, so we've got the book that's signed, and because anyone can put a scribble in, isn't it? It's one of those things that you actually have them all authenticated that it was actually Gil's thing. But I've got another.
Just put it back a minute, Mike. Just a minute.
You'd rather see that than me, wouldn't you?
No, I'm just saying. Right, guys, have a look. I mean, I always think like Gil Merrick's got a touch of Errol Flynn's about him. He's a very good-looking, dashing-looking bloke. He is. Without sounding, but he is, and I always think that with his when he was younger, he's a very nice, good-looking bloke.
Very, very well presented. Brill creamed, almost sort of film star quality,
Something else you notice with the goalkeepers of them days, they like wore woolen polo necks.
Yeah.
Imagine that with a wet ball.
Yeah.
Talk of the devil, right? Now, this here has also got quite a famous person hanging at the back there as well. Can you make that one out?
At the back? It looks like Alf Ramsey to me.
It is Alf Ramsey, yeah. So that's Gil and Alf Ramsey.
It's a great photo, that is.
Yeah, Gil signed that for me. That was when we lost 6-3 to Hungary.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the magic of the Magyars, wasn't it? The magical Magyars.
Poor old Gil. A few months later, we lost 7-1 to him. We went away and lost 7-1. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I think that was his last appearance for England.
I think it would be, wouldn't you? 13 goals in 2 games. Yeah.
Oh, somebody's threw him under the bus, haven't they? Nothing changed.
What year was that, Pete?
That would have been 53, wasn't it? The Hungary game. Yeah.
It's a great photo, that is.
Oh, absolutely. And he was so kind enough to sign it and everything. What an absolute proper gentleman and a legend, and absolutely, chuffed to bits with that stuff. So I can't wait to tell you about Tim. Anyway, sorry. When you was a kid, did anyone have one of these? A scrapbook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did, yeah? What used to go in yours?
All the cuttings out, the Argus and that.
All the Argus stuff, yeah.
Like that.
Absolutely. I got all the things about when you was on about with the Sheffield Wednesday game and whatever. I've got all them in. Got all me stuff. I just have to show you me ones at the end there. Yeah. That's when there's a picture here. We played Middlesbrough the last game of the season, and we won 3-1. We got a Bob Latchford without a beard. That shows how young he was.
Yeah, yeah.
A picture of a bloke scoring an own goal, and that bloke is George Smith.
I remember it. He played. Yeah, I remember George Smith, Middlesbrough.
So we thought, oh, we know that there's someone who knows where the net is at St Andrews. So we went out and brought him. Like, it was quite funny with that era, though, wasn't it? Because it almost become like that you either played George Smith or Gordon Taylor. You play George Smith when you was away from home,
Taylor
as a rule, and Taylor. They did obviously play together a lot, but that was the sort of like, you know, when it was only sort of like 2 points for a win, one for a draw. It was almost like, you know, stick to what you've got at home, away, and try and win your home game.
It still happens now, though. You know, I made a point today in that podcast that, you know, for me, I'd be playing Sunwich away from home and probably Jordan at home, Jordan James at home.
Yeah.
You know, when you got someone. I mean, I thought Jordan James was great when he came on Saturday, to be fair.
Absolutely.
He started to hit some really nice passes, hasn't he? Which he didn't used to do before. I don't know where it's come from, but he looks a lot more confident.
I think he's younger and fitter for a start.
He is, yeah. Yeah, but they're all fairly young guys.
You know that there's always, and as soon as it happens, with the sacking and everything, a lot of people are thinking, oh, yeah, deja vu with the Zola situation. And, you know, I do think a lot of the anti-Rooney stuff as well has a lot, you know, it has, people's got memories, haven't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
You know, and
you've got every right. You've got every right to say what you want. But the only thing I don't agree with there, Pete, is, you know, when you say like the anti-Rooney or the pro-Rooney, I don't see why you should have to fall on either side of the fence. I mean, the way I look at it is, as each week goes by, you know, my mindset perhaps changes a little bit. It doesn't mean I want Rooney to get sacked. It doesn't mean, you know, but you can have a balanced view with you without having to say, right, I hate Rooney, he's got to fucking go, like, which a lot of people are doing. You know, someone come on the other day, I made a point about not playing well against Rotherham, and this bloke put in the project, like, you know, we put so like, have you come to your senses now then, like, and changed your mind? And gone, oh, changed your mind about what? Well, you know, like, you like you was pro Rooney before. I'm like, fucking, I'm always pro the manager of the team. I'm a Blues fan, but I can see when things start to change, and then you can change your opinion. By saying you don't think Rooney is probably the best man for the job, and probably none of us here did, the three of us, wouldn't have put him in. It don't mean you want him to get sacked or you hate him. No. You just think there's probably someone better out there that could probably do a better job. It doesn't, you know, it don't mean you hate the bloke. You can have a balanced view without having to fall on either side of the fence, you know?
Yeah, but I'll take you back to the Zola scenario. So a bit like that, he come in and tried to make change the way we played and this, that, and the other, and it wasn't working. And we managed to scrape one win in about 12 games or something.
Sort of similar, really.
Yeah, there is sort of like thing. And then we had a local derby away. I think, pretty sure it was a Friday night as well. We had to go to Wolves. And, you know, it's almost a scenario, you know, for Wolves, make it Coventry and whatever. And it's sort of like, he put Kiefenbelt and Davis in midfield there, and we got back to being a bit bluesy.
Yeah.
And won the game. And
you're not going to play any silky football with Kiefenbelt and Davis there.
No, absolutely not, but almost like a needs must. Now, do you think, you know, like you say, I think Sunwich he's practically a nailed on for Friday.
I think so as well. It's got to be.
I would hope so. And like, I mean, it's a bit like a point I made earlier in the podcast that which is actually going out soon. It don't matter about talking about it. You know, because someone said to me, so, what would you do? Not what do you think Rooney would do? Well, honestly, if it was me, I'd with a back four, I'd revert to playing a standard back four. Don't push them up. Let them do what they can do, but just play the press with the front men, with the front four, like we did in the first game of the season against Swansea. We really pressed that their back four, and Hogan, if you remember, pressed the keeper. The keeper panicked, lost the ball, and Dembele scored. So you can play that press without having to play it right the way through the team. And I think it would sort of give Rooney a way out. We're still pressing, but we've had to adjust it because the back four can't cope with it. That's what I'd do. But I don't know if he's going to step down like that. I don't know if he's going to stand back.
I like that idea of putting Bielik in the back four.
Mate, I mentioned it today on that part, honestly.
Well, do you remember when we had
centre half next to Sanderson, just steady it up,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, do you remember when we had him on loan before? He actually came as a centre back, didn't he? Mm. So I'd go for that.
The thing I like about the idea about Bielik playing in the back four is it then means you can play James and Sunich.
Exactly, yeah.
So you sort of get the best of the three of them, and Sanderson gets a little bit of shoring up in the middle of the defence. Or Ivu, which either one of them. And you've got Buchanan and Drama, who are both sensible defenders. And like Drama doesn't push up the way that Laird does. He doesn't push up as much, and that helps. When you got Laird, and when you say to Laird you're playing in that pressing game, the whistle goes, and Laird is fucking on the corner flag at the other end of the pitch. Exaggerating a little bit, but you know what I mean. What you're saying to Laird is, right, son, off you go, like, and he's fucking gone. And there's a massive 30-yard gap between the centre half and the right back, side.
So it's almost, in a sense, we need someone to carry the ball out from the back, don't we? Really?
Yeah, and be
someone confident enough to carry the ball out from the back to link up with the midfield or wingers. Yeah. That's where I think we're missing that sort of carrying the ball out. A bit like what Maguire does at United at times. He'll just go that little bit further. Just carry a bit more.
Yeah, and not get caught in possession, which has happened a load of times with us. Because they ain't quick enough. They have to be able to, as the ball's coming to them, someone has to make themselves available. And let them be seen, because otherwise, with that sort of game, if you've got a team that presses you, if you put your foot on the ball, it's fucking all over, because they're on top of you like a ton of bricks, Yeah. And that's our problem, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah,
absolutely, mate. Right. So next on the agenda, here we go. I don't know if you can see this. It was this. That's right. Yeah. Now, people go on about the Zulus, right? This game was an absolute riot, mate. It really was. And what it was. Pardon?
Who were they playing?
They're playing Blues.
I like a pre-season thing.
It wasn't a pre-season. It was a celebration of Alf Church getting some new floodlights.
Right.
So, in their wisdom, they decided to play us in a friendly sort of any trophy that they had. The trophy cabinet got robbed. The flipping floodlights was getting scaled. Just trying to, Trevor played. I'll read you out to him. We actually lost 3-2 as well, believe it or not. So we got Jim Montgomery, Archie Styles, Malcolm Page, Joe Gallagher, Gary Pendry, where are we? Joe Gallagher, Tony Wants, Howard Kendall, Terry Hibbett, Trevor, John Connolly. So and Trevor. So it was near enough a full strength side, really. But the losing to Algers didn't go down too well. And the place got absolutely obliterated. I don't know.
It was a lovely little place, Algers, as well, didn't it?
It was, yeah.
It is not. But I've seen that before, though. I've seen at Cheltenham, I ain't that long ago. Like I went with Tony Merry and the Merrys, and then we all went on the train to Cheltenham, and it was a bit of a walk from the station. I think it was Cheltenham pre-season.
It's a long walk. It's a long walk from the station.
Yeah, it is, and we came out the game about like 10 minutes into the second half because we just wanted to go to the pub. The pub was fucking packed with people, like Blues fans, all pissed off. Tatey was in there. That's like, when he was on the pop, like, And, fucking hell, mate, seriously. The place was fucking destroyed. And when they went, there was a couple of coaches outside. I don't know whose coaches they were, but there were someone's coaches. And the last thing I seen go, the dartboard went in the coach. And the last thing I seen go in the coach was a bike. we were getting the train. We got to walk back. Like, so we had a couple of pints, and the fucking barmaid was crying because someone had nicked a bike. The fucking dartboard had gone. All the glasses had gone. It was sort of funny, but it was sort of sad as well. But obviously, like, a coach is going to get pulled about 100 fucking meters up the road, isn't it, by the old field? It was so funny. I think Tatey was on that coach without giving too much away, like. But I don't know. But I don't know who nicked the bike. But but them sort of things are sort of funny, but not. But I can imagine what Alf Church was like, because it's a similar sort of place, and like.
Yeah,
not as big as Cheltenham.
We played Hereford as well. For some reason, the pre-season friendly, they called, you're playing in the Herefordshire Senior Cup final. Right, so this is about 1980 would have been, yeah. We didn't even enter sort of thing. Just say, you're playing Hereford for yeah. Well, you're playing for a cup. You're playing for the Herefordshire Senior Cup final. So obviously you land there early doors, don't you? And they've got all the signs up, haven't they? About, because it's obviously all cider down there, isn't it? Strictly no more than 3 pints of whatever the name of it was. Well, it's a challenge, isn't it? You know what I mean? So it's almost like that's the reason why they do it. So you'd have the three in the one pub, then you'd go into the next pub and have the three in there, and then go. And everyone was completely off their head, man. It was, and it got quite naughty. That one did as well.
Yeah, that cider's a nightmare though, because I remember when I was telling you last week about Stevie Chance, who had the White Swan at the bottom of Verse Street. God bless him. I think he's dead now, from what I understand. But he just taken over the White Swan at the bottom of Verse Street. He was a market lad, Stevie. And that White Swan was all of that, like, plastic polycask cider and that, Yeah. And the locals were fucking complaining about it, And Chanty was Chanty. He's a fucking great big bloke. He used to wear, like, one of them blue, like, butcher's coats behind the bar. Not like a grocer's coat. Fucking big bloke, like, And he's gone, because we had the barrel organ, like, so we sort of knew a little bit about how to keep beer, like. We've gone in there one day and he's gone, fucking hell, Nuss, come here a minute. Come and fucking have a look at this cider. All around the bar, this is like lunchtime, there's loads of fucking, like, vagrant types, fucking pissed out the fucking heads, lying around. So we've gone downstairs. What's the matter? He said, this fucking cider, complaining about it. He said, the bastard casks, like, he's fucking shaking them. What you've done, he said, I fucking put a bit of this into your... He said, honestly, I fucking not lying. He said, I fucking pissed in one earlier. He said, fucking... and knowing Chanty, like, But them sort of pubs. Do you remember the Eddie McVeigh's place just under the bridge on the Stratford Road?
Well, where we used to have the cider.
As you go up the hill towards the Blues, towards Camp Hill, the bridge there. What's that? The Shakespeare.
The Shake, yeah, that was the cider one as well, yeah.
I was in there one night, and the gospel truth this is, we were sitting in a bar and there's playing pool. I was fucking half pissed, like, but there's some it was a right fucking rough looking fucking crowd in there, like, And we've gone around the side to have a look. There's somebody playing pool, right? He's going to take a shot, like, and he's stepped over a fucking body lying on the floor with, like, black blood coming out of its head. Oh. He just, like, fucking stepped over him, fucking played his shot and carried on the game. He was like, fucking hell, like, That's what cider does to you, Pete.
Oh, I know. Look at the size of me. Anyway, so, Gaz, last week you were talking about you had a part-time job in the butchers.
Yeah.
Right. So, and apparently Steve had Steve, you did as well, didn't you,
I
Steve?
did, yeah. I worked in a butcher's.
Right. But what exactly did you have to do in there?
Um,
Just move the meat around, or
No, I mean, I had.
no,
Was you a kid, Gaz, or was you like a proper?
yeah. Well, it's like that. That's 75, 76 season. Like, I used to do the job with my mate, and when Blues were at home, he'd work in the shop, and when Blues were away, I'd work in the shop. So it was all about cleaning the trays, keeping the floor swept, putting the sawdust down, sweeping it up, doing the block.
The
You
block
know,
was
all
the
that.
bloody hardest thing, when it put the sawdust on it.
Yeah, yeah, doing all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got locked in
and
the freezer once.
yeah, and nicking meat.
Well, we used to give up. What happened was, I used to live right opposite the butcher's I worked at, and I was still at school, like, you know. And my nan was still alive then, and we used to live with my nan, and we literally lived right opposite the butcher's. And it'd be like middle of the week or so. My nan would say, "Steve, go and get us a £1/4 of sausage, will you, from out of there?" So I fucking go over my keys, like,
Yeah,
make sure not to leave any footprints in the sawdust. Fucking get some sausage. Fucking come back, like.
yeah.
Just
I,
put it on my tab. I never fucking used to put it on the tab, like, you know.
No, no.
I,
That's
I
the
used
same.
to
Like,
love
just
going
put
to
it in bags
butchers.
and just drop it out the back.
Yeah.
You know, I used to love going in the butchers with my mum and whatever, so you could roll around in the sawdust. As, you know, like I say, again, I was 27 at the time, but I didn't care. But I never understood why they had sawdust in the punter's side of it. I could understand, like, you know, it's supposed to mop up the blood or
It is,
whatever.
yeah. I think it's just one of them things that become a bit traditional, like, you know, you wouldn't
Yeah,
see it now. But I think it was just one of them things. It was like to show you got a clean floor. When the floor had been cleaned properly at the end of the day, you just put a light dust and a sawdust over it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was a kid's paradise. But I became obsessed with bacon. All I wanted to eat was bacon. So I used to love them because they put the pig on and they'd flipping, you'd have the bacon slicer, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I used
You
to.
know,
Did you ever used to bone the back, Gaz? The bacon backs?
No,
Yeah, I
no,
did.
no.
Yeah, they taught me to do that. And I'll tell you
Yeah,
what, honestly, like, it's something that I have now that I'm so glad I've got because of that job, is I know the difference between pork, lamb, beef, chops, blah, 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 blah. I'm a bit of a meat expert. So a lot of
well,
blokes look at
I
me
know the
and
difference.
think,
I know the difference between them. I couldn't tell you what the cuts are. If you want to say like you want a fore rib or a rump or something like that,
yeah,
you
I
know,
can tell
take
you
that off the
I can
carcass.
tell you the difference, but a lot of blokes don't know the difference. Like, to look at, is that like pork or
Right.
lamb, or,
Well, that's just common knowledge to me. I
you
don't
know.
know.
But you know, yeah, but you'd know, wouldn't you? But you know, I'm pretty good at all that sort of stuff. I am, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
bit of an
yeah,
expert. You want to see
because
the price of lamb over here? Fucking lamb over here is like, it's like buying gold, and the lambs are right scrawny fuckers.
yeah.
Honestly, if you see
Yeah,
one
well,
of the lambs there, you wouldn't touch it.
I mean,
I'm
this is my argument. We're really going off piece here, but you know, there's more sheep in this country than there are humans. Like, why is lamb so bleeding expensive? Because I love lamb. I
I
don't
like lamb,
understand it.
bro.
I don't
I've been eating
understand it.
lamb for ages. I
Yeah,
haven't.
yeah. It's just so expensive. I don't understand why. You
Well,
know,
don't they get the
same
New
as fish.
Zealand stuff anymore? You know, you don't see
Well,
New Zealand stuff in Spain.
yeah, you do still get New Zealand lamb and that if you can afford to buy it. I mean, like, you know, to try and buy a decent leg of lamb now, it's going to cost you about 30 quid.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous.
what I was trying to lead on to anyway with that little thing about the butcher.
In
Yeah.
other words, you two shut the fuck up about meat.
No. What it is I got my daughter at the moment, like she's doing her A levels, right? Now, I mean, she collected O level, well, what they call GCSEs now. I mean, she collected them like I used to collect hangovers, clever as anything, sort of thing. And she's doing her A level, she's going to get there, but she hasn't got a clue what she wants to do. Now, it's so difficult these days for kids. It's almost like they think it's a rite of passage that, yeah, you do there, then you go and to uni, you get yourself in debt, you get a degree in whatever sort of thing, and that pigeonholes you then for life, because that degree is only good for something. Now where I work now, that's I actually work in a hospital and actually do microbiology, but that's a long story in itself. But there's me. The only reason I ended up doing there is because the hospital where I did work shut down. Have you heard of Money Hall?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Money Hall, yeah.
Yeah, the mental hospital. Yeah, I was the gardener there for 15 years, and you never guessed it was one of the residents there. You know, Jeremy. Come on, Blues.
Come
Yeah,
on, Blues.
yeah.
He
Bless him.
lived there.
Now he was one of the success stories of Montreal. I mean, the place had been going for years. He's classed as a colony. You know, the way mental health was dealt with back then, people who would squirm if they actually knew how it was. People ended up in the system who shouldn't have been in. But there again, the other side of it, that people were safe in there. But then government's been government. They say, I know what we'll do. We'll shut all these places off and we'll sell them off, and we'll go for this care in the community thing.
Care in the community.
They pocketed the money from selling all these big places like Money Hall and Rubery and whatever. But they didn't put the money back into care in the community. And so that's caused a lot of issues with a lot of people. I mean, fair play to Jeremy. He's, like you say, he's a success story. Cutting the short story long, they couldn't be deemed of sacking somebody in the health service when they was closing these places down. So what they did, they gave you 6 months to find alternative employment, or you could take redundancy. But I just thought, I'll have a go at this microbiology. This seems a good crack. There's a fair few fit women there and whatever.
So it's always a thing to take into consideration when you're looking at a new opportunity.
Absolutely, you did at the time. Any port in a store, mate. So there's me. Flipping, spent 15 years sat on my arse cutting grass. I went for an interview. I got 4 O levels behind me, but they were the basic ones. You know what I mean? I just scraped through. I got an English, got a maths, got a chemistry, and I got an art. All them drawing the goalposts. You see. But I actually failed in the other 2 O levels. I got unclassified. Now, the way you get unclassified is basically spelling your name wrong, and it's a real hard graft to get unclassified. But I didn't give a shit. All I wanted to do is
that's a sort of wondering. That's a sort of minstrel wanderers approach.
Yeah, but very much so. But so there's me going for this job. I got the job, and there's a bloke next to me who was doing, got a bloody degree, but they had to favour me because it was all politics at the time. Hence, I ended up there, and then you worm your way in, and I've been there bloody 27 years. But what I was trying to get at really is, did you have any idea what jobs you wanted to go in when you left school? Did you have a career path?
I always wanted to be a footballer,
Oh, we all did. Footballer or a porn star like Fritz, you know what I mean? Something like that, yeah.
But I think when you look back, sorry guys, carry on.
Sorry, I had a. It was all pretty much set out for me. I was a really good athlete. I was top of my game. I was like district champion at 200 meters, like high jump, long jump, the lot. Do the lot. Captain of the rugby team, captain of the football team, captain of the cricket. Blah 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 blah. And I got accepted into the RAF. and it was tough to get into the RAF then. And I was going to train to be a PTI, a physical training instructor. That's where I was going. And I had to sign up for 27 years.
You know, you get less for murder, man.
And right at the very, very last minute, I just discovered punk. And it was all happening. The punk scene was just starting and everything was kicking off in town. It was just fantastic. And I didn't go. And I went for my attestment, and then you was given a 5-day cooling off period and the first month's wages. And that was it. I just thought, no, I ain't doing it. And, you know, I would have been retired 25 years ago on a full military pension and all the rest of it and gone on to do something else, I suppose. Big mistake, I think, in my life, but I don't regret it.
It would have been chatting now. You'd have a great big handlebar moustache.
Well, funnily enough, that I hadn't left school, but I was leaving school that year, and they used to have a teachers versus it was pupils versus staff end of season basketball tournament. And they used to do a write up about the players, like, you know, and the write up under the program is I have got it somewhere. It's like one of our top performers through all the years of basketball, like, you know, and captain of the team of this year's current team. Is currently growing a handlebar moustache for entry into the RAF when he leaves at the end of the year.
There you go. Well, that was
it didn't happen, like, you know. But anyway, I went off to do something else.
Personally, mate, I think you had a lucky escape, because I think most people that go into the armed forces like that, especially 27 years, you become institutionalised.
Yeah,
live in the real world, you know.
Yeah.
You might have come out with it with a nice pension, but you'd have probably been a right wanker as well, you know.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm probably going to offend an awful lot of people by saying that, by the way, and I don't mean to. But you know, I know some people myself, only through personal experiences, they've had bad experiences in the forces. But having said that, a lot of people, you know, obviously make a living out of it, make a lifestyle out of it, you know.
Yeah.
It becomes
like I say, I don't regret it. You know, I don't regret not doing it. But that's where I was heading. And I think I probably would have been successful. But like you say, you know, looking back, I mean, my brother, my youngest brother, like, he's retired now. He's a full-term police inspector, like, you know, went all the way through. And I don't mind saying it, he's a total and utter wanker, like, you know. No, from the day he went in at 18, he changed. I lost my brother that day.
Yeah, you do all right joining the armed forces, but I don't know about the old Bill. I don't know. But, you know, I mean, yeah, Pete, I don't know about you with this, right? But with me, you know, you meet some people you've never met before, you're having a crack and everything, and then someone goes, oh, you know, Roger's a policeman. Fucking hell, straight away. I'm trying to think what I've been saying for the last half hour.
Yeah. Well, it's just my luck that, you know, like everybody had as a fight at school, don't they? You know what I mean? Even placid people like me, you end up in one punch up, don't you? I mean, some people have one every day, but I mean, I was sort of like, you know, Mr. Laid back man and whatever. Why would I get in a fight? But I ended up having a scrap with this one bloke. And of course, it's one of them things in it that you're on the station, they're waiting to go to a game, and up comes this flipping big old Bill. You don't remember me, do you? Oh, for fuck's sake, it's only the person that flipping beat up at school. No. But yeah, that'll teach you know.
Been there, done that.
But I'm intrigued, Steve, how you ended up in the flipping pub trade and more so the DJ bit.
Mate, I was thinking today about all the things I've done in my life, and it's unbelievable, really. People would think you're making it up. I started actually with the DJ. I did like a lot of people do when they finished school, and then there were lots of jobs, weren't there? I was a stock taker for NSS news agents, if you remember them. I used to go all over the country with them, like, you know, doing stock takes, blah, blah, blah. And then I started doing a bit of, my mate was a DJ, and long story short, I used to go into his pub, the Golden Lion in Solihull, And my mate was a DJ there, a kid called Steve Vincent, which wasn't, he had a stage name. His real name was Steve Jones. So not much different, really. So, at the time, the punk stuff and all that was around. And so we were like, I was into the music and I quite liked the idea of this DJing lark. Well, what happened was he used to have the back room of this pub and he used to leave his stuff set up all the time. So I got talking to him. I said, how about, and he used to fucking hate putting it away at the end of the night. He'd like to leave it up, for the next night kind of thing, but he couldn't because he had to put it away. The gaffer said it's got to go away. So I said, how about like letting us do something, like I know how to put records on and all that, and you don't have to put it away then. I had a chat with the gaffer, a kid called Chris Goodwin, who's a big blues fan. And in fact, I've got lots of stories about him. I'll tell you about him some other time. So I had a chat with Chris. He said, yeah, why don't you do like a fucking disco, like on the Wednesday night in between these two nights, blah, blah, blah. And so me and my mates got together, fucking absolutely rammed the place. And we was doing like more, and we weren't like skilled DJs. We were just putting records on, like, and it sort of went from there, really. And from there, I went to, and so because Chris run pubs, I was doing DJing. I went uptown. I got a job in the Hosteria, which was on Her Street, and I used to DJ there, like through, as you called it the other night, the Posteria.
The posterior, we used to call it. That's where I first met you, Steve.
Yeah. So I used to do the Friday, Saturday nights up there. Yeah. And then I was quite lucky in a way because I knew Brendan Joyce as well. And Brendan Joyce opened the club over the road. It used to be a gay club. It used to be called, can't remember what it was called now. But he called the Venus, the Venus in Inch Street, right opposite. And so it was sort of opened as a kind of alternative to the Rum Runner. But we had like Little Mickey and what's his name? Little Mickey,
Mick, yeah, I know you're Japanese. They used to call him, was it Chinese Mick or something like that?
Yeah. And also, all the slightly rougher part of what was
becoming, all the tats everywhere.
Yeah,
full of
and they were sort of becoming the crowd that was starting to become punk stroke new romantic-ish.
That's it. Yeah.
This was like the rougher side of that. So we were at the Venus, and Brendan Joyce called it the Ambassador Club, and so the Ambassador then was owned by Brendan Joyce, and there was no fucking around with Brendan as in terms of like who come in and who come out. He had a couple of big lads on the door who I can tell you stories about them forever, and that they were good as gold. Me and a kid called Greg Griffiths used to run the Ambassador, but I used to finish work at the Osteria at 11 o'clock, which was then the kicking out time. Get all the records straight over the Venus, upstairs, bang, get that going, fucking bang. It was the Venus was one of the best clubs in town, without a doubt, And then we'd go up the Rum Runner occasionally, like it. And Dick would come down, we'd do a little bit of the Rum Runner and stuff like, But it was great. It was a great time for me. And
where was you buying your records from?
Well, got them from all over the place, really. But got them from all over town, obviously. But I knew a bloke called Bobby Call at Reddington's. Do you remember Bobby Call, guys?
Yeah, I know. I remember Bob.
Bobby Call was great. He was a bit of a case, Bobby Call. And when we took, just skipping forward a bit, when we took over the barrel organ, it was a natural step for me to work into a pub. Sort of, I got the opportunity, so I did it, and I had the barrel organ, which was like a bit of a market pub. But I liked the idea because it had got live bands, and I could do my music and stuff. But skipping forward a bit, Bobby Call, who used to get us a lot of the records, a lot of people know Bobby. He was a fucking great kid, Bobby, but he was a bit of a lunatic, And we had this thing where we would we used to get these stage thunder flashes, You just put electric charge on them, and it's a big flare. So what we used to do was we used to make confetti cannons. So we get these little flares, tape them up really tight, put them in the bottom of a bucket with a lead, fill the bucket with torn up newspaper, put like a cardboard lid on, and then have a battery on stage. And at the end of a record, as they were then, we just put the leads onto the battery and bang, this cannon went out. You know, massive confetti cannon that we made ourselves. And then, like, we was all pissed up one night, and Bobby was pissed, and we got a crash helmet, and we said, "Hey, Bob, how about putting one of these like things on top of the crash helmet, right? You wear it, and we'll let it go." And we was all pissed, and we did it, and it was. So you all right, Bob? Like, yeah, he was all right. So anyway, this turned into a bit of a thing where on a Saturday night, it went from like 1 to 2 to 3 to like 7 or 8, and it'd be on stage.
It was like that.
Yeah, and he had
All
like
over.
a suit on, fucking a crash helmet strapped to his head, and 8 of these bombs on his head, and we'd be there with the battery, like, you know, and everybody, we're right, Bobby Cole's coming on stage now, like, you know, so fucking Oprah, and it was packed as well when it goes.
Yeah.
Everyone just wait for Bobby to come on, and we go like counting down, bang, like, and we just wait for the cloud of smoke to clear to see if Bob was still alive, like, you know. And yeah, Bobby was still there when they, but that, you know, right. Tell you a million stories about them places, you know, Town Crier, Vine, fucking West End Bar. We had all of those pubs, and I had a great time in that. And then I'll tell you about the rest of my career next time we're on, because I'll be talking all night.
You know the West End bar, Steve?
Yeah.
Was you there when we used to have the rock and roll nights?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the Twins. It was like a 50s thing that was going on.
Yeah.
Sort of at the same time as the new romantic stuff. But these 50s lads, a bit like Gaz, you were, weren't you, really? You liked all the American 50s clothing and the shoes and the stuff from Oasis, you know, Route 66 and all that.
When punk started to die, you know, it was already, well, it was almost gone by 1979, 80.
Yeah.
Until the next wave came. I was looking for something else to do, and I really got into like the sort of rockabilly scene, like, you know, and the psychobilly and all that started to happen.
Well, the stuff that we did at the West End bar was it wasn't like rocker. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But it was a good crossover. Like,
but a lot of it was like American, old American 50s bop music, and we had the Twins who were very, very good. You know, Ian and Laurie, and in fact, Laurie come out and worked with me in Creek for a while, which was another story. But the Twins were really good, and it was like based on that kind of American music, and also we had a lot of musical stuff like, I don't know, like Doris Day. Well, the Rum and Coca-Cola by the American Twins. What were they? The sisters that were a bit like the shit. Anyway, you know. So a lot of
the Anderson sisters.
The Andrews. The Andrews, and so like a lot of these American stuff they were playing, the lads were playing, and a lot of musical scores and stuff like that. It's totally different, but it was very, very sort of hip. And we had a little international lager bar underneath called the Piccadilly Lager Bar. And the way when we got the West End bar, the idea of it, we went to London for a day, and me and Steve. And we had a look around the West End, around Soho and that. And we pinched all the ideas from Soho, basically, and went back to Brum and put them into the filibuster. That's the story of that.
Yeah, because
it was a good place, that was. I enjoyed it there.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, because old Tim Beddoes, so you getting back to him, who used to run the, what's its name club there, the... Historical Society and whatever. He was a proper Teddy boy. He was like, he used to go in there because the Greenway used to have rock and roll nights as well when that was up and whatever. And to be fair, like, you had to have some balls to walk around in your drapes when, you know, everything was just seemed to happen at once. You got the mod revival, you got the punk thing, you got the two-tone, everything sort of like merged in one thing, didn't it? And there's him walking around in his bloody drain pipes and whatever. So, you know, fair play to old Tim there. But he was a right ducker and diver, he was as well. Like, because he used to have a bookstall at Edgbaston, at the cricket ground there. And that's how he got into sort of like, he's still in that game now, sort of like sports memorabilia, buying and selling of that sort of thing. So he used to have us working for him. He used to have to go and sell the mails at a test match. That's papers, not mails. Yeah. So what it was, you get 4p a paper that you'd buy. So, it's always one of them things when you'd walk through town and late night final, lunch edition mail. I'll have a bit of that. Well, it sounds good until you have to do it yourself. And there you are. You set me up with all these sort of like, start off with the Birmingham Post sort of thing, first thing in the morning. Great big things. They were the
broadsheets.
Yeah, the great big thing. But they would sell well because people, oh yes, I'll get a paper for the day's play and whatever. So you didn't have to shout. That was all right. They'd come to you. Then about 11 o'clock, you get the lunch edition mail. So that's the time you got to start talking, shouting, because people are watching the cricket days. So you used to have a bag and have to walk into the, lunch edition mail, and you'd look around. So has anybody heard me shouting? You'd be really sort of like quiet and timid. But then the fact that every time you'd sell one, you'd make 4p, that kicked in. So you'd be strolling up and down, lunch edition mail, lunch. Fuck off, I'm trying to watch the cricket sort of thing. just to sort of like try and make 4p on them. So then at 3 o'clock, you get the final mail would come out. So there you are. There's a lot of people at a test match who aren't Brummies. They're not aware of this sort of thing. So you're walking in, final mail. So he says, but you brought one round at lunchtime that said evening mail. It says, yeah, but this is the final mail. Okay, that one didn't go down well. And then at 4:30, you'd have the extra final mail. So you'd have to go and take them round as well. By this time, thankfully people were pissed and they just, fucking have some money, but buy a paper, But, oh man, 4p a paper that was flipping hard.
Can I just ask you, is Fritz getting a bit fresh? He seems to have crept in the screen a bit, and it looks like he's now touching your thigh.
He's allowed to.
He seems to be edging ever closer.
Yeah, he's allowed to, mate. Fritz go back a long way to 1970, me and Fritz, mate.
That'll become a heirloom, that will.
Yeah. But Steve, you was on about with the posterior and whatever. So what were people drinking in there? Because obviously, I've been a wine bar. What was the go-to?
It was interesting, really, because everyone suddenly became a bit of a wine expert in town, because these wine bars started popping up, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, you lead Frown Milch, which everyone sort of understood. And if you said it, you sounded quite sophisticated, But a lot of people were on the bull's blood, which was a red, as you probably understand. And they would just drink. I mean, really, a lot of it was just cheapo.
Yeah,
Italian.
Peace porter.
Peace porter, yeah. But like a lot of the stuff in the Osteria was Italian, because they were Italians, and they owned the Italian restaurant over the road. I forget what it was called now. Next door to the Hippodrome, they own that as well. So yeah, but a lot of people would take cans in as well, like which the doorman used to confiscate and keep for themselves. But the doorman there, and I won't say the names of them, but a lot of people know them, because I don't want to say bad stuff about people. But they'd go to the wine shop on the way in to work, buy their own selection of wines. And at the Osteria, I don't know if you remember, you come in the front door, but there was a back door out onto the car park underneath the DJ stand, which was DJ. Like I was up in like a crow's nest, and so the doorman would stand out by the back door, and if you wanted a bottle of wine, you just go and get one off them, and they had their own corkscrews and everything. So they did a nice little bit of decent trade there as well. But I think a lot of people, to be honest, would go and get drop a little bit of speed or something, or get pissed before they went into the Osteria, and then just have a couple of glasses of wine because they had to. I mean, there was no choice really, was there?
Nip down the Australian bar and have a couple in there, and then nip back up.
Well, I was saying the other day, Pete, when on the in the group, that what used to happen before I went to work on a Friday and Saturday night, I'd always go in the Aussie about 6:30 or 7 and have a topping at 8:30. Well, 8 o'clock was the official start, but I could get away with 8:30, So a couple of hours in the Aussie, and then just have a couple of people just bring us some fucking bottle of wine up now and again, or like one of the doormen and give it me. In fact, one of the doormen come and work for me at the barrel organ afterwards for years. So that thing at the Aussie there when we played Leeds that day, I think I was with you guys when I. On the car.
Well, they just wrecked it, didn't they? It didn't exist, did it?
But in the morning, a lot of Leeds fans had got into the Aussie bar.
Yeah.
Some kid had found out where they were. One of the lads that worked at the Hippodrome bought out crates of empty bottles of Coke or something, from the night before. And they took him down to the front of the pub and they basically just fucking destroyed the pub from the outside, the Blues did. And then they went in. I mean, honestly, I don't know if you've seen photos of that. Did you see it, Pete?
Yeah.
It was like a shell, wasn't it? It's like an absolute shell, that place.
It was destroyed,
so
that was the end of me having a drink that weekend, specifically anyway, but they did destroy it and there was old Bill everywhere and it went, I mean, that boozer was destroyed,
It was like Beirut, but it was just ridiculous.
Did you two ever go in Yates's Wine Lodge, the one on Corporation Street?
Used to love Yates's. I didn't go in with Gary. I used to go in. I used to go in there when I was about 17 when I first went uptown because it was so cheap. And we used to get a bottle of, you could get a bottle of like wood sherry or something.
Yeah.
You could get a bottle of it. They pour it out of like a fucking drum or something. It looked like a real barrel, but it probably wasn't. And me and my mate, go on.
Do you remember another place up there? It was called the Windsor.
Yeah, the Windsor's at the back.
So that was
a little boozer just behind it. So we used to get our wood sherry, me and a kid called Martin Pitt, and we'd walk up, Needless Alley, Pete. Do you remember it?
I was going to say, because I used to drink in the Parisian and,
Parisian and the Windsor and all that were just down there, weren't they? But we used to go up Needless Alley when it actually was like a long, quiet alley and stand up there and drink our sherry. And the amount of times I got home when I was that age and puked, pure red puke from this sherry,
I mean, we used to drink that Aussie white was the big thing, Australian white, which I don't know why they called it white because it was red, but same sort of thing, out the barrels and whatever. But I'll never forget, went up to Blues was playing Man City. This was the flipping day that the Zulus formed and whatever. So
the famous day.
The famous day where 10,000 people were there.
I wasn't
one of them. But I mean, we just sort of like got the early train to went into Piccadilly opening time sort of thing. Had a little walk down there, and there's in this thing called Oldham Street. There's 3 Yates's Wine Lodges in the one street. Fucking brilliant, mate. But we gone in there sort of thing, and there must have been about 4 or 5 of us sort of, Aussie white, please, Aussie white, please. And this flipping, she looked like Bet Lynch. She did this woman sort of thing. She'd been around, you could tell, sort of thing. And she says, I won't do the Manchester accent because I can't. You're not from here, are you? She says, no, we've come up for the football. And she says, oh, well, you must know Moses then. So I'm thinking, well, yeah, Charlton Heston played him in a film and he went and got the 10 Commandments, didn't she? She's almost punched me. No, you daft bat. Remy, it's my son. Okay, sorry, Miss Lynch or Miss Moses or wherever it is. Good God, so we're meeting flipping Remy Moses' Mom.
But he was a Brummie though, when he Remy Moses.
Yeah.
He was at Albion, and he was actually born in Manchester, played at Albion, and he got a move to Man United before Brian Robson did. And he was one of these little ratters, like, you know what I mean. Not the worst, but well, you can't be bad to play for Man United, can you?
He's all right.
Yeah, but he had a few injuries, and then when Norman Whiteside come on the scene, that was him finished up there, really, like, you know. So perhaps he's up in Oldham Street in Yates's with his Bet Lynch mum. But it was great down Manchester, because you'd always have a late train.
But them sort of boozers are the best, you know. And I remember going round Borsalheath, you know, like when young, like, you know, when I had the town crier and that, we'd go down and have a chat in the Cannon Hill. And you're saying that about the bird there, you know, the girl behind the bar in the Cannon Hill, like stocking and suspenders, like pulling pints, you know what I mean? It was fucking crazy, you know, and they're rough pubs as well, weren't they? Do you remember the Cannon Hill?
Yeah, I do.
On the corner of Cheddar Road, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so you know them places. The Old Grey was a fucking great pub, and I think we spoke about that last week, you know. But they're proper pubs, them, you know. The kids now would never see that. It's a shame.
Do you remember when we used to go down, Steve? Do you remember we used to go down Stony Lane and Ladypool Road, like, and for a bulty, like at Adele's and stuff?
Yeah.
The stuff, like, sometimes it was before the games we used to go, you know, and have a curry or a bulty, and then and sometimes after, like, you know. But some of the, I mean, half the time I was half cut going in and having a competition trying to suck up a balti through a sheep kebab.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I remember when talking about them pubs, you know, the Brighton on the corner there, Stony Lane. I remember then the geezer there had an idea, like 30 years after it first become popular, to put topless barmaids in there. On the corner of Brighton Road, like, you know, where everyone's going for a balty, it was like, fucking hell, come on, you know. But the whole, everything was sort of a bit crazy then, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, even at that time, they weren't as popular as well. They've pretty much gone now, but like when we were going there, they were dirt cheap, weren't they?
Yeah, now the proper places, not like now.
No, but I mean, it was ridiculously cheap, weren't they? And they were nice.
Yeah, we used to go to our deals, which was almost opposite.
The deals, yeah, was
and the floor, and on there, the floor, they had lino, which would be in a kid's bedroom. It was like roads, where you'd put your toy cars, like, you know.
Yeah.
And the toilet, all that was in the toilet was a milk bottle full of water.
That's it, yeah. They were fantastic. That food was brilliant, and so dirt cheap. I just don't believe it. And how that ever took off, like, you know, and got to where it was, and now it's, well, pretty much died. I don't know, but they were. I'll always remember. I just love the flavour of them curries on. They were brilliant.
There's a bit of dribble coming out your mouth, Gaz.
No, I'm salivating now.
Yeah, that flipping Manchester thing, though, after the Zulus had done their business, so there was always a late train back from Manchester, so it was great. So you staying down there for a top yourself up and whatever. But of course, like all the Man City lot, they was all flipping out for blood after, you know, they got their good hiding and whatever. So you had to keep a bit of a low profile. So walked past the flipping Bet Lynch Yates's. I mean, walked up to the next one, went in there, and flipping out, it's no more than a flipping Elsie Tanner lookalike in there. Comes and starts chatting to us. The only difference is this one. By this time, he pissed, sort of thing, obviously. I thought she'd got love bites on her neck. But it weren't love bites. It was someone that obviously flipping cut her. Okay, then. But at any point in a storm, you know, you get chatting away and this, that, and the other. But there was always a thing that you was told. There's no mobile phones or nothing there. So if you're giving someone your phone number, unless you want them to phone, just put the wrong number down. You know what I mean? So old Elsie Tanner's asked for my phone number, but I was that drunk. I actually gave her the proper house phone number. So you thought nothing of it and whatever. But anyway, so it's Sunday afternoon, the phone's gone, and the old man's gone to starts chatting on the phone and everything. Yeah. So then he comes back and he said, oh, I've had a really weird phone call then. She said, I had this girl, she sounded like Elsie off Coronation Street. And she says she's coming down this weekend. And because she said that I could stop at her house. I said, I think she's got somebody mixed up here. Would you know anything about it? But no. Just obviously some crank with a wrong number. But fucking hell. The Elsie Tanner flipping hell.
Well, I've got a vision in my mind, Gaz, of Pete chatting this bird up, pissed up, like going, that's a very attractive sky you have there around your throat.
I can't wait to show you off to my mates.
Yeah. I was telling her all about Amy Turtle because I'd got it into my head. This was actually flipping Elsie Tanner. Yeah. So, like, oh well, actually, we've got our own down here. We've got Crossroads. We got the only thing is there was that one character in it, weren't it? Flipping Mrs. Whitten. Oh dear, they could have called her Mrs. Smallheath or something, couldn't they?
Yeah. Well, she could have been named after Stevie Whitten.
I tell you what a player he was, mate.
Yeah, wasn't he just? Yeah.
When there was nothing to flipping, we had Steve Wigley, who you could bully out of games, really.
Yeah.
But Steve Whitten, he'd always put a shift in for us, wouldn't he?
Very strong lad as well, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He's powerful, wasn't he? Very powerful, yeah.
But when you think about some of the drops, people moaning. By the way, we didn't lose on Saturday. We didn't let a goal in.
I know, yeah. You got to take some positives out of it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's bad, and then there's what we had to go through was bad.
Terrible, man. Some of the times that we went through, I mean, when I think back about some of those games, away games in the middle of the week, in some shit places in Division 3, it was like, fuck, how did I even do it, And a lot of us are like that, and I know, like, now you suffer when you go away, but a lot of the time, like, we was talking about it last week, weren't we, going in your car, fucking, breaking down, stuck in the middle of nowhere and all that business, it's just a different animal then, wasn't it?
I think
everybody knew everybody, didn't they? Because the crowd was that small.
Yeah, I think it go. I mean, if you were around at that time and you went and you was involved in that, you knew the lowest of the low, and it galvanised us. I think,
Yeah. But I mean, I really felt for Gary Pensley. I did, because he'd made the big mistake, turning around and saying, I'd walk over broken glass for this job. So flipping Weldon at the time, he's rubbing his hands here. I got this bloke in the net here. So he didn't give him a penny to spend hardly, did he? And we ended up with like as an old man's rest home for ex-Albion players. Then we go bloody John Truick, Tony Godden in goal, and
as it happens, Pendry probably did have to walk over a bit of broken glass with Weldon there, because all the windows were put through in the main stand and that, weren't they? And there was no bulbs anywhere, so he got the best of both worlds, Pendry. He got the job and he did get to work over a lot of broken glass, I would imagine.
We bless him. I mean, he blues through and through, he was, wasn't he?
Definitely Gary Pendry.
He was a dirty fucker, wasn't he? He was a dirty bastard. But whenever he made one of them like real crunching tackles, I remember the chant that used to go up, like, the Blues Kung Fu, the Blues Kung Fu, the Blues Kung Fu, Gaza, Pendry.
but like, because he went on to have a good career with Gordon Strachan, didn't he? He was sort of like as a coach, that was his element. I mean, no one could have done any better than what he did, but relegation was as best as what he could do. But of course, then we go and bring Dave McKay in. Now, I thought that getting him in, there's that one iconic picture of Dave McKay, isn't there?
Billy
And he's
Bremner.
got Billy Bremner round the scruff of the neck and everything.
Do you know
And
the
you hear
story
all-
behind that?
No.
Well, Dave McKay had just come back from a broken leg. He'd been
Right.
back. I think that was his second game back against Leeds. And Bremner went really high in a tackle on the leg that he'd broken. And he said, like, I don't usually would react like that. He said, but it was me fucking broken leg. He said, I was going to kill the little bastard, like, you know. And that was the result of it. That fucking great photo. And it's up there with the Vinnie Jones and Gazza one, in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, look, with Mickey, I had this idea about his, obviously he was a stocky bloke. I remember in the back end of, I don't remember his Tottenham
Pete,
time.
he was barrel chested, Pete.
And he went to Derby, didn't he? And set them on their road to. But I'd expect, this is going to be great. He's going to take no shit, this Dave McKay here. Completely the opposite to what I thought he'd be. He was so sort of like mildly mannered, well spoken, and he wanted to sort of like get us to try and play football in the third division, which is the one place you didn't, to get out of that division, you didn't play football, did you? You had to kick your way out of it. But, do you remember this one clown he signed from called Dougie Bell?
Yeah, he come from Leeds, did he?
He was he'd come from Scotland. He'd been.
I know his name. Yeah.
He'd done all right at Aberdeen. I think he was part of their team that won when they won the cup or whatever the European Cup Winners' Cup, and he played at Rangers and so he's got a bit of a reputation. The bloke was absolutely shit. He would never move out of the centre circle, but all he'd do is he'd run around the centre circle. That was his bit of effort. The man was absolute pants. But the good thing about McKay really was that we had no choice really. We started bringing kids through, didn't we? So you've got the Frayne, Clarkson, Tatey was coming through. He got but Dean Pear used to get a bit of stick sort of thing, but there was a nucleus of a side beginning to come. Simon Sturridge as well.
It's sort of though. It's not like it weren't quite the Busby Babes, was it?
No, but there was the groups of people who actually wanted to play for us.
Yeah, I like all them lads, and I still like, like when you see Clarkson now, in Facebook and that, and players like that, and Tatey and that, you look back and they are like memories of good times for me. Not necessarily that we're successful, but these were like players that supported Blues,
Yeah. I was trying to think where Kevin Dillon fitted in at that time. Was he before or after then?
He's from the northeast, Kevin Dillon, and he came down a bit after, didn't he? I think Kevin Dillon was like late 70s, early 80s.
That's right. Yeah, he was more. He was the Jim Smith.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was.
But of course, we got Nigel.
Excuse us, Pete. Pete, can you excuse Gaz? Can you ask your missus to shut up? She's coughing too much, man. You need to give her something big just to put over her mouth. Not in a nasty way. And I know she's not coughing on purpose and she's not very well. But come on, Chris, play the game.
Give her that chessboard behind you, Gaz.
You're getting there at the moment.
You've got a cushion there, Gaz. That'd do.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt this.
We've got no central heat in the raid. We've got no raid, so we've only got one warm room in the house, and
I've got no central heating.
But you're in Spain. There's a bit of a difference.
But yeah, so
Hang on,
Dave
go on,
McCarthy,
Pete.
I don't know. He wasn't what I was expecting, and then obviously Lou Macari come in and got us to Wembley and everything, and you thought this is it, this is takeoff now. This will fit what we want. Is it no nonsense? Get everybody running around, suit our style of play, and then he fucked off, didn't he? Took half the team with him. Who went? Sturridge went. Overson went. Flipping.
I remember Macari going. Didn't Devlin go a similar time?
I think Dev was just a little bit later because we got Terry Cooper in then, didn't we? And people go on about some of your all-time favourite Blues managers. Terry Cooper would be right up there. What a proper bloke.
He's a nice bloke, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I remember when we went to we were playing Chester City, I think, and they played at Macclesfield, I think.
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Did you go to that game?
I did, yeah.
That was crazy, that was, wasn't it? I mean, there was about 20 policemen on duty, and the place was just completely fucking flooded with Blues, wasn't it, everywhere? And I remember, like, Mark Cooper scored, didn't he, late on, I think, with a direct free kick. Do you remember that? Was you with me? Yeah. And we went round the back afterwards, and like, I don't know where we were, at the back of the ground, and Mark Cooper come out with a few of the players, and Terry Cooper come out, and a nice bloke, wasn't he?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
his lads just took over at down the road here. He just took over at Bristol Rovers.
Who has Mark Cooper?
No, not Bristol Rovers. Oh crikey! Is it? Oh, it's Yeovil. I think it's gone to Yeovil.
Mark Cooper, yeah.
But famous quote from Terry Cooper. Go on, I'll give you a chance. Go on, because I remember you laughing your taters off and relating it to me. What he said.
I can't.
He was talking about one of our wingers, and he says he couldn't cross a bridge.
Oh. I love all them sort of quotes, I love them sort of things. Like I think you said about the Tommy Docherty one a few weeks ago, like about Gary Neville, he's deceptive. Gary Neville is slower than he looks, Fucking great comment that is. Docherty was good at them things. But but Terry Cooper, like you said though, Pete, like proper footballer and a proper bloke, wasn't he?
He was one of the few players in that Dirty Leeds team that I actually liked. You know what I mean? I mean, there were so many that, like your Johnny J. You'd admire them as footballers, but they were horrible, weren't they? But Terry Cooper there, he seemed to play the game properly, didn't he? Because he was one of them. He started off as a winger, hadn't he? And then they converted him into a fullback.
And he was one two good fullbacks, actually. Do you remember the second one? Who the other one was?
Paul Rooney, wasn't it?
Paul Rooney, yeah. And he was a good fullback. Yeah. And he's one that often gets forgotten, Paul Rooney.
Yeah, a whole team of internationals, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I loved it when... What I think we should have done when Barry Fry was with us was have them tags on the socks, like Leeds.
Yeah. They were great, weren't they, them tags? Don't know what.
They were shit, weren't they? But they were good, they were good in a shitty sort of way.
Yeah.
I'll try and make some for Fritz, I think, for next time.
That'd be good, that would. It would suit you.
I think Fritz, one of my most memorable Terry Cooper games was Swindon at home.
Oh, don't go there.
Half time, I'm sure we were like 3-0 up, absolutely all over them.
It was
and Hoddle.
It was 3-1, I think. I think it was 3-1, guys.
Yeah.
And then
it was all over them when they hadn't got an answer, and then
I remember
half time, Hoddle brought himself on.
I was standing on the halfway line with you, on the cop with you, and I remember Andy Saville hitting the fourth goal into the Tilton. And it went to 4-1, and I thought, that's fucking it. That is like over. But actually, Hoddle was already Hoddle was
Yes.
already playing, but he
He'd
just
started the game at the
his
back.
role.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. But he brought Mickey Hazard on, or Hazard was, I don't know what happened. They
He
just
brought
changed
Hazard
formations.
on, I think.
Yeah, and they murdered us. Absolutely murdered us. Got no reply. I remember just looking at Terry Cooper. He didn't move a muscle. He just sat down in the bench. There's nothing he could do. You know, and they just buried us, didn't
We
they?
could have brought Terry Cooper on.
Yeah.
But that was a masterclass by Hoddle, and it's one of those things,
Wasn't
wasn't
it?
it? But I
Wasn't
don't
it
care
just
who you're
like, you know,
playing against. When you're 4-1 up, you shouldn't lose a 4-1 lead when you're playing
no,
into the second half. You know, shouldn't
no.
happen, should it? I mean,
Did they
Well,
go up that?
it seems
Yeah.
to happen. It seems to
remember
happen
who
a lot
was in goal,
more
though?
likely, doesn't it, than it used to? That sort of
Yeah.
teams coming back from 2 and 3 down.
Yeah. Yeah. Did they go up that year, Swindon? Did he take them up?
I don't know.
I think he did, didn't he? Yeah.
And they come straight back down, I think.
Mm.
Well, there was a lot of financial shite went on, didn't it? That they got didn't wasn't it that one time that they won the playoff final to get promoted, and then they wouldn't let them go up because
Yeah,
there'd
it
been
rings a
some
bell, that does, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
which had gone on, hadn't it? But yeah, they
Good.
talk about all-time bad goalkeepers though for that 6-4 game. We had a bloke called Andy Gosney.
I
I don't
remember
know.
Gosney, yeah.
Yeah. You know, look, I tell you, you'd be hard pressed to find a worse goalkeeper than him. I mean, we've had some bad ones. We've had like Roger Hansbury. He was shite. Gary Sprite didn't cover himself in glory. Obviously, the one we were brought up with, Jim Herriot, I was a bit too young to actually realise how bad he
was bad. And people, it makes you laugh because people go on about Lee Camp, you know. But at least he could do a bit of shithousing and that. He was funny, wasn't he? And he weren't too bad for his height, you know.
No, well, and I mean, you know, Tony Godden as well. The one I feel sorry for was this bloke called Tony Elliott. I don't know if you remember him. This was in the bad old, sad old days. And we drew Villa in the League Cup. And we'd also drew him in this thing called the Simod Cup. And so we'd lost in the League Cup 2-0. Then had to go to Villa Park and we lost 5-0. And you thought, well, it's one of them moments. That's a watershed moment. Nothing will ever get worse than losing to Villa 5-0. But 2 weeks later, we had to go there in the Simod Cup and we lost 6-0.
Wasn't that...
Alan McAnally was playing for Villa and absolutely tore us to bits. But yeah, so you got this lad, Tony Elliott. He played 2 games against Villa and three games and let in 13 goals. I mean, at least Gil only took two games to let in 13 goals, didn't they? And it was against Hungary, not bloody Villa.
That brings us back nicely to the start, really, Pete, when you showed us your photo. Well done.
Oh, yes.
But I think we've got to wind it up because we're getting to a sort of time now where we're on the 90 minutes, which is like the length of a football match. And I think people probably get a little bit. But you know, it's been interesting tonight because we sort of talked about loads of different things, haven't we? You know, when you think about it,
the price of lamb,
Balties, what's her name, Elsie Tanner.
Yeah.
My God, Needless Alley, Punks,
RAF,
Handlebar Stashes.
We'll have to go into the ban things next week then.
Oh, I've got a lot of that for you.
Music, especially old Gaz with his punk. I want to know who you see, mate.
Well, we got. Well, I think all of us like our music, and I think that'd be quite an interesting thing to have a little chat about. You know, I've got some very diverse tastes. I
have. You?
Yeah, you'll find out about it. Don't be trying to ask me in advance.
How about music, though?
Says him sitting next to a fucking almost life-size German porn star that his mum made him.
That looks like he's touching him up.
I've just got to say one thing before we go, mate. It's about. Did you ever said about that flipping these two here? Bowen Bell. Right. Now, I've been round some dogs with flipping big holes, right? But when you actually see what Bell Brummie's face looks like, you remember them games that you used to play in the at the fun fair with a bucket. You have to throw a ball to try and catch it, yeah? To keep the ball in the bucket. Their mouths are just like that. They're fucking huge, man. And normally there's a go. I know it was cold sort of in. There's usually kids waiting to go and get their photographs taken with Bowen Bell. People were flipping running away from them.
Yeah,
What
I mean, that's got to be a marketing cock-up, hasn't it? Or has it been done like that to get, you know?
That's what I think, yeah.
Because it's clever marketing in a way, but you shouldn't be scaring the kids.
Absolutely not. No, perhaps they were scared of me because I was next to him, like I was next to Bowen Bell.
Whoever did them, mate, I think they made a bit of a cock-up there. But you know what? Who knows? At the moment, it's weird times, isn't it? Listen, if you get a chance to have a little listen to my podcast, have a listen to it. It's only 30 minutes. And you can also let me know what you think about it. Listen, thanks for tonight. Pete, thanks for bringing so much stuff, mate.
Okay. Big shout out to MDA. They're fucking brilliant.
Yeah, they are, MDA. They're doing well, aren't they?
Good enough.
I know if anyone's going to Cardiff middle of next week, I believe if anyone wants to go on coaches, there's some spaces on Tony Routley's coaches going from the Roost, if anyone wants to go. But I know this weekend, I know Cardiff, we've sold, Coventry, we've sold 4,000 tickets. There's no coach room for anyone. It's going to be a bit mental there on Friday night, I think. I'd love to be going, to be honest with you. I really would, because I think that's going to be a great night. Forget the football. You just go in the pub and just wait to see what the result is if you want, if you ain't got a ticket. But I'll be watching that with a couple of old lads from the Blues who are actually here at the moment. And I'm going to be watching that up over the road from me on Friday night in the Boozer. So I'll be looking out for you, Pete. Will you be there?
You can save on your colour gas, can't you, if you go in the pub?
I haven't had it on, mate. I haven't had it on. I didn't have it on all last winter. I'm a bit tight like that. I'd rather put an extra thing on. Yeah, I'll show you what I wear in the house sometimes. Look, you probably got one of these, guys, knowing you. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
That's from Primark, that is. Fabulous.
Very bad stitching.
Well, it's only 20 quid, wasn't it? But if it gets a bit too cold, you just put that on, like, you know, it's just like turning another bar up on your fire, or in Gary's case, getting his missus to throw another log on the fire.
Yeah, man.
You don't want to get his hands dirty. Or getting the plumber to pop round and turn the central heating up for him. No, but
he's coming tomorrow, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I hope he does, because Chris's cough's getting worse, I think.
Yeah. Well, with 10 days into one of the worst viruses the pair of us have ever had. That goes with mixing with young bohemian yuppies down at an art exhibition.
You're too old to be mixing with young people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Stick to the Elsie Tanners, mate. You can't go wrong.
That's fantastic one tonight. I've enjoyed it, and I'll get it on tomorrow. It's too late. It takes me best part of an hour to convert this just to put it on. So I'm going to do that tomorrow instead. So this will be on tomorrow night sometime, or tomorrow afternoon. I'll let you know when it goes on, and hopefully everyone's enjoyed it.
I'm just going to say, I'm going to stick my neck out here. Coventry 0, Blues 1.
All right. How about you, Pete?
2-1, Blues.
I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to say it's going to be 1 each, and I usually go for Blues to win, but I'm not feeling 100% with Blues at the moment.
Yeah. I'm going for the Zola revisited moment. I am when we won at Wolves. So.
All right. Well, that could be it. Could be a turning point for us, because we desperately need some points to get ourselves away from that. What's ever coming ever closer, the bottom of that table. You know,
that's why I'm saying I think this is going to be the turning point tomorrow. I think there's going to be a reaction from. Well, I hope Rooney's going to get a reaction out of him, and I'm going to say 1-0 Blues.
They're playing
definitely.
tomorrow as well, are
It's tomorrow night, isn't it?
they? No.
No, it's not. It's Wednesday and it's Friday night, isn't it? Yeah.
All right. I think
it's the
he's
cold.
gone too many cans.
No, it's the cold, mate. It's freezing here.
All right. Listen, have a good night, guys. Keep yourselves warm. Pete, look after yourself, mate. I'll speak very soon. Next
Go and put
Wednesday.
the Sex on, Gaz.
Next
Put the
Wednesday.
Sex on and have a pogo. That'll warm you up, mate.
Yeah. I'm too old for that now.
All right, take care
Take
then,
it easy,
everybody.
lads.
See you
Take it
later,
easy.
lads. All the
Bye.
best. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.